Hello, everybody. I'm sorry. I apologize for being late. I got caught up on a call, and sometimes you have to go and tend to the business that paid you. So I do apologize for being late. I do like to try to be as prompt as possible. I thank you all for, especially those who were here when I wasn't. I saw that there were quite a few comments up top, and I truly appreciate you all for stopping by. Again, I won't keep you long. I try to keep my lives an hour or less if possible. But there was some information that I wanted to share with you all. And it's very important information. So I will also try to put the information once I'm done, like a downsized copy of it or whatever on my community wall. So I don't want to, let's see, I'm going to say hi to everybody. There's enough of you for me not to take forever because there's not a whole lot of people. So anyway, happy Friday or Friday to everybody. Um, I see Linda Johnson, my cheerleader, my sis, was in here, my member, and my mod. I appreciate you. She's saying happy Friday and she's welcoming Brittany to the Swag family. Yes, I did see that last night that Brittany, she actually was a member. She just had to change some stuff over. So yeah, so I appreciate you, Brittany. I can't say Brit because there's another Brit, and plus Brittany doesn't really like that name Brit. So, uh, no more drama. Hey, honey, how are you? Thank you so much for stopping by. Linda is asking that you all could please hit, if you could hit the like button, please do. And if you have the opportunity to share, I would truly appreciate that as well. Hey, Real Talk with Real Opinions. How are you, sis? That great to see you in here. I was like, let me hurry up because I figured you may be trying to go live today as well. And I don't like to impose on others' time. But like I said, I got a call. It was dealing with a student. Um, so I had to take care of that. Okay, we have Shonda Vincent's Cole. Hey, Shonda, how are you? How are you? Thank you so much for stopping by. Um, And then let's see, Lady Ace 44. Hey, how are you? Member there. How are you? Great seeing you today as well. And then Good Times by Good Times. Hey, how are you, honey? Hey, Swag and Chat. Blessing hot topics. My sis. Hey, how are you? How are you, Blessing? Um, she's speaking in this service. God is, Auntie. It's cold here in this shy. It's cold. I haven't been outside, but I definitely have heard that it is cold. Um, she says, "Good day, Jim." And pink pink waving hand. Oh, okay. Those are her emojis that either she's speaking them out or they printed them out. Okay, so everybody is speaking. My girl Sting, member. Hey, member. Sting of the Black Scorpion is speaking to everybody. Hey, Carla Miller. How are you, dear? Thank you for stopping by. Cynthia Green. How are you, Cynthia? Thank you for stopping by. She's saying good afternoon to everybody. So, as well as No More Drama is speaking to everybody. Okay, I think that is it. Let me get down to the bottom. We have Geraldine. Hey, Mama. Geraldine is in the house. Hey, and Brittany Allen, my niecey poo. Good afternoon. How are you today? Um, okay, making sure I didn't skip anyone before we get started. And again, oh, we have our Chi Town low end sister. Hey, Chi Town, you know it's cold. It's cold in the Chi. But I'd rather have the cold any day over the snow. They can keep the snow. Um, I'm over the snow. I think I've had a lifetime full of snow that I don't have to see it again. Janice Middleton, hey, she's speaking to everybody. Thank you for stopping by, Janice. And then let's get down to Tammy. Hey, Tammy Pritchett. She says, Swag, good afternoon to all the beautiful souls in the room. Thank you so much for being so welcoming, Tammy. I truly appreciate you. Okay, let's see. I think Oh, Trey Trey. Hey, Trey Trey. How are you? She's saying hello, swag and chat. Libra 4. Hey, Libra 4. Hey, beautiful. Hello, swag and everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for stopping by. Uh, Real Talk says, swag, it's okay. I had paperwork to do today. Okay, awesome. So I know you'll probably be going live probably right after me because I know you like to go in the afternoon as well. I was supposed to have a special guest. In fact, I needed to send her the link, who was going to just come and talk about something at the end. Um, which is why I made it in the afternoon because I just remembered that. Okay, let's see. Blessings is speaking to everybody. Florida Red, that's my intermittent fasting friend, partner that I need to get back on. But I'm not doing too bad, Florida. I'm doing pretty good actually. I have been losing. Uh, because I have like stopped with the snacking and there's little stuff that you can do. We'll talk about that another day as well. But I appreciate you, Florida Red, for being in the house. Thank you so much. Okay, Linda's asking you all to like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't joined the Swag family, we do have our memberships available. We would greatly appreciate and love to have you join us. Um, and then let's see. I just want to make sure I said hi to everybody. Beautiful Blossoms TV. Blossom TV. I put an S on the Blossoms. That's my other niece, Pooh. Good afternoon, Auntie Swag and Chat. Thank you so much, Blossom, for stopping by. Lisa Parker. Hey, Boo. Thank you for coming by today. We appreciate each and every one of you for joining us. Wanda Clayton, thank you so much. I'm going to get back on that night music. I know you enjoy it. Um, I had started like sharing some of the videos from, because by it being so long, I started sharing some because it's just night music, but I'm working on trying to get some different type. Like I would love to have some actual um some like water sounds or even some earth sounds and things like that. So yeah, so that's something that I'm working on. And then let's see who else do we have here. Uh let's see. Geraldine, I said Geraldine. Bad and Bougie. Hey, Bad and Bougie. Hey, honey, how are you? She's saying hi. Okay, so let's get started. Oh, blessings, welcome. You guys go ahead and give blessing a welcome hug. Let's sing our welcome song. We're gonna have to come up with one. I do want to have a welcome song, but thank you so much, blessings. Blessing. Why am I putting an S on everything? It's like something's wrong. Anyway, thank you so much, blessing, for becoming one of the swag team members. I appreciate you. I really appreciate you for your support. And any of you who are in here, I'm going to take a look at my membership because what I want to do is make sure that if you are a member over here and you are a content creator, I definitely want to join your platform as a member as well. I feel like that's how we support one another. I do have membership badges in multiple places because I like to support, and it's not that I expect you to become a member of mine, but I do want to become a member of yours if you have a membership badge here. So I'll check that out. Hey, Avis, thank you for coming in. I, I appreciate you. Okay, so I want to, let me send this to somebody and then we'll get started. Let's see. When would you like to do? Oh, okay. And then let's see. Okay. Um, okay. Let me send this to one viewer. And okay, let's get started. Okay, so what I wanted to talk to you all today, as you saw, my topic was, do you have your house in order? I think that's what it was. But what I wanted to talk to you all about was having your affairs in order. Um, with it being the beginning of the year, especially with it being the beginning of the year, we need to start thinking about having our things in order. Things happen from day to day. Um, and I think it's important. Hey, Glam to Gam. Hey, sis, member. Um, I wanted to talk about this. It's a very important topic, and as a person of color, sometimes we don't prepare. And so we wait until things happen oftentimes, and then people are surprised because no one expects it. And we end up in a bunch, like in trouble when stuff happens. My diva the boss, let's talk TV. Hey, member, thank you so much for stopping by. I know you're probably working. So yeah, so I wanted to talk about this because I've seen it happen even like within my own family, and it is kind of uncomfortable. Some people don't like talking about it. I know my parents didn't like to talk about it, even though they had things in place. They still didn't like to discuss it. I remember my mom being uncomfortable with talking about it, but when she did leave here, she was okay. We didn't have to like scram. We didn't have to do fundraisers and things like that. So this is some information that I just wanted to share with you all. Many of you may have already, hey Tiani, hey Tiani, how are you? May have already worked on it or talked about it. So let's just go through some information pertaining to getting our affairs in order. So let's see. I want to make this big. Let me see. Can you guys see it? Yeah, you see it. Okay. I'm looking at it from my phone because I won't be able to see the chat otherwise. Okay, I'm gonna see. Let's see. How does this work? Does this make it better or does it make a difference? Okay, it looks like it really didn't make a difference. Okay, so first of all, I wanted to talk about life insurance. Um, a lot of times when we work for companies and they offer life insurance, we take it, of course, because I know in many cases employer sponsored life insurance policies are cheaper. Like you can get a larger amount of coverage for a smaller amount of money. And so it's very attractive. I know, like at the hospital, I mean, now that I'm PRN, I had to let go of my life insurance because you can only get it if you're part time or full time, but that's okay. But like at the school, we have a pretty substantial, life insurance policy where it's not as expensive and as getting private insurance. And so obviously you take advantage of it. Like you may be able to get some companies, you may be able to get $100,000 worth in life insurance for like less than $20 a month, right? Sometimes really cheap. And so it's very attractive. But what the reason I wanted to bring that up is that if you do have a job, first of all, that offers life insurance, take advantage of it. As well as if you have bank accounts, if you have credit unions and things like that, they oftentimes give you a free policy. It may only be $1,000 or $2,000, and then sometimes they'll offer to sell you additional uh, supplementary insurance for you or family members at a reduced cost. Take advantage of it. And then I know that there's like a term. I'm not going to get into the life insurance too much because there's much more things that we need to discuss. But definitely take advantage of it, and we'll talk about term and whole and things like that, life insurance. But that it will be a different live. I do have a person who sells life insurance who will come and talk to you all about that. She may actually get a chance to jump in today. I told her maybe towards the end. And if you have questions, she'll be here to answer. So, the reason that I wanted to point this out is because I want you all to take into consideration, of course, utilizing your employer sponsored insurance. However, do not let that be your only insurance. Like if you're working a job right now, you have an excellent policy and you're getting a whole lot of life insurance at a cheap rate. Do not let that be your only policy. The reason I say that is because there are a lot of times when people become ill and they have to stop working, and their insurance and things like that may lapse. Because if you're not working, a lot of times um, if you're not working, a lot of times that stuff goes away. Let's be honest. While you're healthy and something happens and you're working, then you're covered. But when you get sick and you end up being on short term, long term disability, a lot of times after a while, your benefits, you're no longer really employed. Okay, they don't like to put it to you that way, but sometimes your policy, you won't have it anymore. You won't have that coverage. I've seen people who have had great benefits, and then when they get sick, they can no longer work. And a lot of times they may offer it to you, like they have the health insurance has Cobra, the life insurance, you can take over the policy, but you pay a lot more. And so it's just important to have and try to get it as young as you can. And when you have children who are young, get you a private insurance policy through somebody. It doesn't have to be State Farm, it doesn't have to be Allstate, but it can be Geico. It could be a lot of different policies, even if you have homeowners or renters insurance or car insurance. Sometimes those very companies offer life insurance, and if you get multiple policies, like if you have, like I have State Farm, and with State Farm, if you have homeowners or renters or car and what is it? You have renter's car, homeowner, or whatever. If you have various policies and then you have life insurance, usually you get a discount the more policies you get within that company. And so the reason that I stress this is because you if you don't if you no longer have that job for whatever reason, or if you're sick and you can't work, you lose that insurance, you still have an insurance policy. Plus, it's best to not wait until, when I retire, then I'll get life insurance, because the older you get, the higher the premiums are in most cases, and it can be more difficult to get the amount that you want, because at that point they're looking at your age. Your weight may change, or your health may change, and all of those things are taken into consideration. And so, yeah. So Blessings is saying Gerber will start. Yes, Gerber was around, and I thought about getting Gerber back then. I kind of wish I did, but I didn't. But I did. Oh, I'm sorry. They're out there taking the garbage can. Oh, that's so loud. Hold on now. Um, or doing something outside. Oh my goodness. But anyway, Gerber is a great one. If you have young ones, they start off very young. You could do your grandchildren, or but Cobra is very expensive. You're so right. Hey Ginger, my member. Hey honey, how are you? Um Tammy said, oh shoot. Tammy says my husband has life insurance through his employer, and we have additional life insurance as well. Hold on a minute, you guys. Like they always It's like either I don't normally hear them or they just were extremely loud today, doing something outside. I'm sorry. Um, okay, so yes. Yes, Tammy, that's very smart. Very smart. And I did see one other comment. Let's see. Tammy says, I agree. That's right. Blessing says, three outside. I have three outside of my job. One of them is for cancer coverage insurance, just in case. And that is very important, because a lot of times when you become ill, then it's more expensive, and or they may not even cover you because you're ill. Lisa Parker says, if you have job insurance, make sure you have additional insurance, because if you lose that job, you lose that insurance. And that is so true. Tammy says, awesome content, swag. Thank you so much, Tammy. Diva, oh yeah, Diva, I know. Why can't D see Diva? Diva is mod. She should be able to see Diva. Okay. So yeah, so that is true. So I wanted to cover that. That was something I wanted to cover. However, one another thing is direct beneficiaries. And so what is a direct beneficiary? When you have a direct beneficiary, you want to make sure, like with your bank accounts and things like that, if something were to happen to you, and I've seen it happen to people where um, you don't have access to, your family members don't have access to your bank account. And we don't think about things like this when we open a bank account. We don't think about the fact that if something were to happen to us, where would our money go? I mean, someone may have your debit card or whatever, but like if you have things being deposited, or if you have a savings or something that no one can get to, it's important to have someone listed as a direct beneficiary. And so what happens with in that case is, if something were to happen to you or to your loved one, because like if you're married or if you have kids, it's important to have them take care of these things as well, because in the event something happens, then the person who's listed as the direct beneficiary only needs to go to the bank with a copy of a death certificate and an ID, and they can then, have control of your or you of someone else's accounts. And so we'll talk about what happens in a minute if you don't take care of that. Another thing is, hey Joshelle, hey Roxanne, welcome in. Transfer on death deed, a TOD. And what happens with this is, a lot of times, if something happens, then it can be chaotic because you have family members who are feeling entitled. You could have a husband and you can have children who are not that particular husband's kids, or you can have, it's a lot of stuff that can take place. So transfer of death deed, like if you own a home, completing a document such as this and filling it, you file it. What happens is you'll file it with your county. So you'll go down to your county, just like there's always a deed on any property that you purchase, and it's filed in the county that you live in. And so when you file the transfer on death deed, it can save your heirs, or the people who you are leaving things to, thousands. Why are they cutting grass? I'm sorry, that threw me off. These people. Okay, so yeah, it can save them thousands, you thousands, or them thousands, because what this document does is it allows you to transfer ownership of your home to someone you designate. And all they'll need to do is take a death certificate and an ID showing that they are who the person is, that you have listed, to your county building. And then what happens is they can sign that deed over to that person. And this will avoid your home or whose ever home having to go through probate. Okay, so we're going to talk about probate. So this is another thing, the transfer on death deed. For those of you who own property and you don't want your family members to go through, or if you have children who own property who are not married, who don't have dependents or anybody to leave stuff to, because not only could that happen to you, it can happen if something were to happen to your child and they own property, and then it goes into probate. So we have to think outside of just us leaving, because unfortunately we don't want to ever have our children or our parents or whoever something happened to them, but we have to think about that even on that level. So talk with people about, and a lot of times people don't want to hear like, what do you think, something gonna happen to me, you're gonna do something to me? But it's not about that. It's about taking care of our business now. And like I said, a lot of times African American people, we don't talk about things like this, we don't take care of things like this, but we should have our things in order, have our affairs in order. Okay. And so, like I said, you can if you don't take care of things like this and it goes into probate, it can become a problem. It's because what happens is that you have to get an attorney, or an attorney has to. They'll take a probate attorney will take over, and they open what, like, if it's, for instance, with the bank account, they'll open an estate account at the bank, and any money that doesn't have a direct beneficiary listed goes into that account. And so the attorney has to open the account and then publicly like state that the person passed away. I'm not going to say you, but I am saying you, but I want you all to think about not just you, your children, your parents, your siblings, and things like that. When a person passes away, the probate attorney would then have to post in the newspaper or a publication at the courthouse and things like that, that you've passed away. And so what happens then is that anybody you owe money to, believe me, there's people out here looking through the obituaries every day to see if, like, the bill collectors. And so what will happen is, instead of your family members taking possession or being able to access funds, the people, it allows just about anybody who you may owe money to make a claim on your property, on your bank accounts, and things like that. And so you want to, and it can take years. It can take years because, and your family members are, it's a nightmare. You know what I'm saying? There may be burdens that, your kids may need money, or your family may need money, and your money and your house and your businesses and things like that are tied up into probate. Okay. So if you take care of this stuff now, it saves your family members the hassle of having to go through probate. Okay. So that was another thing that I wanted to cover, was the probate. Okay. So the next thing is living will. Wait a minute, did I skip something? No. Okay. The living will. So the living will is a written directive in the event you're not able to speak for yourself. Okay, it allows you to put in writing exactly what you want done in the event that you can't, like, say what you want done. And when it comes to healthcare decisions as well as final decisions, like, you know, for instance, if you have and just because you're healthy right now, this is when you need to do it, when you while you're healthy. If you already know that, oh, I don't want to be resuscitated, there are people who don't want to be resuscitated. There are people who don't want to be on a life support. My mom, for instance, when she was battling her cancer, and she signed a DNR, and and there was a whole process at the hospital where the psychologist had to come in the room. They had to ask her questions to prove that she was in her right state frame of mind, and then they had her just make decisions, and we were witnesses and things like that. So if you do this while you're healthy, then your family, it saves people from having to make this decision on your behalf. It's a tough decision for your children, your husband, your family members to make. It can also save feuds between the family members, because somebody is going to want to keep you here, and someone is going to want to feel like, oh, we don't want to see her suffer, and somebody's going to say, oh, he or she they would never want to be like that. They said they didn't want to do this and da 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 da. It becomes a hassle. It becomes unnecessary burdens on the family members. If you have this already written, it's a legal document. After you've gotten it notarized and signed, and you've had these discussions with your family members, it makes it a lot less stressful on those who you leave behind. So a living will is another thing that's important. Um, Okay, Pretty Little Butterfly said I had to sign those papers, a DNR for my mama, the hardest thing I had to do. It really is, because it's a lot on a person to make that decision, especially that person is already stressed, that person is already, going through hurting and things like that. So it makes I honestly feel like with my mom, because I remember her asking my sister and me, we were in the room with her at the time, and I remember her asking my brothers, boys, they don't want to get sometimes involved in this type of stuff sometimes. And she said, "So should I sign this?" And I said, "Well, Mom, that's your decision. You make it. We have to respect whatever you choose." And so when that time comes, your family members will feel so much more at ease, because guess what? Even if they're feeling selfish and want to keep you here, which they can't, we really can't keep people here. But even if they feel like, oh no, try to keep her. If you said, I don't want to be like that, just let me go, it makes them feel a little comfort knowing that your wishes were granted. So, yeah. So, hold on. Okay. So, uh, and your final decisions, right? The final decisions is usually the life support. Okay. And so the next thing is the power of attorney for healthcare. Now, this is a document that allows a person to designate someone to make healthcare decisions. Okay. And so, like, for instance, my grandmother is 93, she'll be 94 in April, and I'm her power of attorney. And so, I'm her power of attorney on her healthcare as well as on her finances. And so, what happens is, and the reason that my grandmother at 93, because she really is very, she gets around as well as I do. In fact, I took her to the grocery store yesterday and to her doctor's appointment, and I promise you, when I say I had to keep up with her, when you go in the grocery store, you have to go and find her, because she's all over the place. She moves like, she moves like pretty fast, right? And so she, instead of my uncle, who is her eldest, because my dad isn't the eldest, but she didn't have girls, she only had boys. And so I'm her first granddaughter, and I'm really close to her. So she wanted me to be able to, and then she knows that I can go and talk, to the doctors and kind of understand, because of being working in healthcare. So I said, Grandma, I said, you're going to cause a problem. Your son, your mean oldest son is going to, she goes, I don't care. I don't want him making decisions for me. I want you to make decisions for me. And so she went and put this stuff in writing, and got it notarized and all of that. And she made me that person. And so that's very smart at her age. You know what I'm saying? And so, if something were to happen to her, she trusts me enough to be able to make those decisions. Although it still would be hard, and I had to have those conversations with her. Grandma, what would you want in the event of blah blah blah? These are conversations that I need to, like, even me being young, way younger than her, had to have with my kids or with my husband or whatever. And so that is the healthcare uh, power of attorney. There is also a last will and testament. And what the last will and testament does is it designates the person that, or people that you want to leave belongings to. And we might say, well, I don't have anything to leave to anybody. But let me tell you, if you have a family members will come and they will fight over a watch, a ring, a coat, a skirt, a shoe. When I tell you, I mean it. Even if it's something that you feel is insignificant, if it's something that you feel that somebody might even want your wedding ring, things that are sentimental to, that may be sentimental to some. Um, it's important that we document these things. It's basically a piece of paper or a form that you complete and you have it notarized. So it's not really. It may sound like it's something big to do. It's important, but it's not hard. Okay, so that is something is something that you should also look into doing, because it will come up. I promise you, it'll come up. uh, and it's just to say fights, especially and it could be at this point. A lot of times you be like, oh well, my family is not like that. People change when money is involved, and when property is involved, and anything, within our families. It does, it really does. So another thing is funeral planning and declaration. And so I know my kids don't like to talk about it. Can you guys hold on 1 second? That's the person that I was gonna have. Come on, hold on. Okay, I'm sorry. So, funeral planning and declaration. So, what happens here is it allows you to say exactly what your wishes are, as far as disposition of your body, which means if you want to be cremated, if you want to have a burial, or if you want to donate your body to science. People do make those decisions. My grandmother, at her age 94, is she wants to be cremated. And so my uncles and my dad, they're like, but this is the thing with grandma. Grandma says she does not want to have a funeral. She does not want to have a repast, a memorial, nothing. She just wants to be cremated. And so although we are opposed to it, we're like, grandma, but so many people know you. You have a big family, a huge family. And then the irony to that is that grandma goes to everybody's funeral. Grandma has a collection of obituaries at her house, a collection of obituaries. And she doesn't want a funeral. So she got upset when we were like saying things like that. She goes, I wish people would do what people want them to do. I said, I don't want a funeral. I don't want a memorial. I don't want any of that. I just want to be cremated, and that's it. And we were like, okay. And so, even though my dad and my uncles in the background are saying things like, well, she won't be here, she won't know, I'm the person she designated, and that's what she's going to have. Now, whatever we try to do with outside of that is going to, but as far as her wishes go, I have to honor grandma's wishes. So, will I get some opposition? Probably, but this is what she wanted. So, yeah, it's important that hey, Vera, there's my girl. There's my missing. Please come home. And so she's going to speak with you all after I'm done. I'm almost done, because Vera also sells life insurance. And so she could answer questions that you might have pertaining to life insurance. Okay. So, and then as far as scientific donation, one of my sisters, she wanted her body donated to science. Now, she didn't put it in writing, but what happened was her kids, when my dad and I were talking about her funeral arrangements, and um, one of her kids, they were teenagers at the time, said, Mom always said she wanted to donate her body to science, and she wanted it to go to the medical district in Chicago. And she was living in Wisconsin at the time. And so my dad was like, she did. And they were like, yeah, Mom, she said that because my sister had a heart transplant like years before, and she had it in Illinois. And that's what made her decide that she wanted to donate her body to science. So because her kids were listening and they remembered that, because we were planning a funeral, my dad had to act totally different. They had to preserve her body a certain temperature. He had to pay to have her body shipped from Wisconsin to Illinois. And then when you donate it, we don't, it was just a whole process. And then he even had to pay for After 2 years, they cremate the body, and if you want the ashes, you pay for the cremation. Otherwise, you won't pay for anything. He would have just had to pay for her body to be transported to Illinois. But so he took care of all that, and so after the 2 years, then her kids were of age by then. Like I know her daughter was 18, I think, by then. So my dad was able to give them the ashes. So yeah, it's a whole process, and it's something that needs to be thought about, talked about, because had she had, she may have mentioned that to me or my dad, but we don't, sometimes you don't remember what you don't want to hear, right? So by her kids saying that, that helped. So yeah, putting that in writing. Some people want to be cremated, some people want to be buried. My other sister, she's like, don't burn me up, you know. People say different things. She's like, no, don't do that, so put that stuff in writing, because people make decisions for you that you may not have wanted. So, okay, so that's the funeral planning and declaration. And then let's talk about the durable power of attorney. Okay, so what this one does is the durable power of attorney allows you to designate a person to make legal decisions if you're not competent. And so there's a lot of reasons that you might have that, especially if you have properties, if you have businesses and things of that sort. And sometimes you can have one person to do all of that. So you just have to make sure that when you're filling out these forms and you're documenting this, that you're filling out the proper forms. And it's not hard to do, and we'll talk about that. So I'm nearing the end. Another thing is to make lists. So what I have a red folder at home that my family runs from as if it's loaded something. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to look at it. But I make a red folder. The reason it's red is because it's loud and it stands out. So make a list of all of your bank accounts, all type your investment institutions, such as your 401k plans, your pension plans, your any type of investments that you've made, even especially stuff that people wouldn't normally think of, such as if you've invested um, in different companies or whatever the case may be. Have a list of your credit cards with the account numbers, the PIN numbers, and things like that. Obviously, if you have people in your house, which I'm thankful that I don't have, I only have my 21-year-old, and she's a 20-year-old rather, and my husband. But sometimes we have cousins and stuff who may live with us, or we may want to keep that stuff out. But talk to the people who matters and let them know where it is, and you can safeguard it. You can lock it up if you have to. But make sure, like, if you're responsible for certain utility bills and things like that, that you've listed this information so that it can be accessed, and leave clear instructions as to how it's paid and when things are going to be paid. Now, when my uncle passed, my aunt didn't know, like, when his car payment was due, when it's the insurance. Like, a lot of times people just don't discuss stuff like that. I have a friend who works with me at the hospital, not the hospital, at the college, and her husband had a stroke, and she didn't know, like, a lot of stuff. She didn't know. She couldn't even get into one of his bank accounts, and it's just crazy. But and then, like, I told her, I said, well, reach out to someone who's a social worker at the hospital that can probably do an emergency power of attorney or something like that. And so she did get the social worker. They did set it up. But with him having a stroke, sometimes the mind goes back and forth. And when they came in for him to sign the documents, he flipped. He said, he was like, "You're trying to take my money." She said he just started saying all this weird stuff. Yeah, so it's best to do this now, when people have a sound mind, and things are in order. So yeah, so make sure that you take care of that. List anything you can think of, because sometimes you don't think of stuff. You may have an account that you've not discussed with someone, like the credit union or something like that. So make a list of all of that. And another thing that's very important is to make sure that um that your heirs, the people who you're leaving stuff to, make sure that they know where your life insurance policies are located. Like if you don't have that red folder, sometimes people scan things into a document, online document, email it to them, or or just make sure someone knows where it's kept, and make sure 100% sure that someone knows, like I said, your logins, your passwords. It just makes it a lot easier. And like I said, we're not just talking about ourselves. Have these conversations with your adult children who don't have spouses, who live alone. Tell them this information. Tell them to have that stuff so that if something were to happen to them, you would know how to access that, because I'm telling you, it can save a lot of hassle, heartache, and stress. Make sure that if you have vehicles, if you own campers, if things like that, your car titles and all of that, make sure that you have that as well. You can keep all that information in one folder so that people don't have to go searching and wondering and trying to find out how to get it replaced and all of that stuff. Um, Also, set up a trust for beneficiaries who are too young. If you have grandchildren, if you have children who are young, uh, you want to make sure that you appoint a trustee of the trust fund if you do leave a trust fund for someone. So you want to have an adult person who you trust, who will be able to handle that and make sure that your wishes are granted. And most importantly is make sure that your wishes are made known. Talk to the people who you are leaving things to. Make sure they understand your wishes. And another thing that you may never think about is that you want, first of all, you want to talk to the people who you did not designate, the ones that may feel like that you would have designated to them. Do this to explain why you made the decisions that you made and to avoid any lingering questions or feelings that might be hurt. Because a lot of times people's feelings are hurt. Like, why would she do that? Why would she leave this to you and not me? That's a discussion that needs to be had as well to those who you didn't leave certain things to. Put it all out in the open. Let them be upset with you while you're living, because I think the worst thing in the world is to be upset with someone who's passed on or being hurt because you feel like they didn't do what you thought they should do. Okay, so basically, that is what I wanted to share today. Um, Anything that I feel like that can empower you to do better, to be better, to make life a little easier. We have a lot going on in the world today, and there's something this simple can really help minimize pain, hurt, frustration, and things of that sort when something or if something happens. Um, I hope that this sparks this lights a spark in you and encourage you, all of your friends and family, to take care of these things to make it easier. Because what happens is when one of us leaves here, we're not the ones that really have to uh, uh, deal with everything. It's the people that we leave behind. And so I'm hoping that this helps you get started on this important conversation with your loved ones, even if they don't want to hear it. Tell them they got to hear it. If you can't have that discussion with them in person, you can do Zoom with the family. You can do FaceTime with the family, or you can do a recording. You can put it all in a recording. So this is important that you take care of that. And I just put the little family there to show you, because we all love our family and we want the best for them. And then I also, it doesn't let you click, but I also have resources in here. I'll try to see if I can add these to my community wall. And basically, what it is links to um, Form Swift. That's a site where you can create power of attorney and different things. Law Depot, you can go on there, and in what you'll do is you'll put in the state that you live in, because different states, some states have different rules apply, and so it'll bring up the proper form for your state. There's e-forms, free power of attorney. I'm going to try to put these links, and then those of us who are AARP, which you can still go on here even if you aren't AARP and utilize their forms. They have free printable advanced directives and wheels and stuff like that. Through my which with through my school, I have we have EAP, and they have a company that's called Perspectives, where you can go. You all may have that too. Perspectives, and we log on, and it has all these legal documents. It has legal documents for things that don't just pertain to this, but I mean, adoption, all types of stuff, property, even has leases if you own property, or rental agreements. I mean, all types of stuff. Everything is available online. So yeah. So I am going to drop the link, and I'm gonna have Vera come up. And if you have questions, I'm gonna while she's coming up, I'm going to go through the comments. Let me get this. Let me remove this and put the link in there for her. And Vera, you can just hit this link and come up. And I'm going to read some of the comments. Let me remove that. Okay. So let's see. I'm going backwards. Yes, AARP here. Yes, Linda. Thank you so much. Linda says, swag, great information. Thank you so much. Um, Linda, is part of life. We're not going to live forever, right, Tammy? And we don't want to talk about it. I know my kids, I'm like, listen, because I don't want you guys fighting. And my wish is that you get along. I want the siblings to get along. I want you to be able to handle this as adults. You know, Tammy, so true. My grown children used to be like, Mom, we don't want to hear about that. I said, you have no choice. Exactly. Tammy says, I followed both my parents' wishes when they passed. Always, I have no regrets. Yes. And that's what shoot, grandma might mess around and outlive us. That's what I said. I'm telling you, baby, my grandma is feisty. Um, Thanks for sharing this information, this helpful information, Janice Middleton. You're welcome, Janice. Hey, Maydale. Hey, boo, how are you? Brittany says, um, Brittany says, Tay knows that if anything happens to me before King and Katie graduate, they only get needs. I don't want them young just spending money yes, in a reckless situation. That is so true. Uh, Real Talk says that's why I picked her, but she knows who gets what. That's good. Maydale, hey Vera, 1 second, dear. Maydale said, me and my husband went through this with his parents. They said they had insurance and didn't. So we had to come out of pocket. And now we've been in probate for over 6 years. You guys see what I'm saying? Probate can take forever. So please take care of this. Now, with my grandmother being 93, and like I said, she has a lot of sense. What she did was, because insurance policies tend to, as you get older, sometimes the value decreases depending on the policy you might have. Grandma canceled her policy, and she told me that the money to take care of her needs is in the bank. So I mean, people have different, however, but just think that she's smart enough to have taken care of that. So that, and then what she did was she added me and my dad to her bank account so that we can go and take money and take care of her needs, right? So yeah, so she's a smart lady. But that was her choice. You know what I'm saying? I believe in life insurance, but I'm not 93 either. So um, let me see. Okay, I think that might be. I agree. Families don't want to talk about that. They don't. Maydale says, I just went over my policies with my insurance agent and got everything in order. All other important papers. Very good. Everything is in my daughter's house. She knows what to do. That's what D says. Linda says, this is great information. Please get your affairs in order. We are not promised tomorrow. Exactly. Uh, I'll read some more. I would love to. I want to let Vera. I don't want to be selfish of her time because she is a very busy woman. She's out there finding the lost at any cost, and she's taking care of family needs. So you guys, hey, pretty little butterfly, thank you for becoming a member. Yay, thank you. Okay, so come on. Oh, what happened? She probably hit something. Try come back up, Vera. I think she probably hit something. Oh, there she is. Okay.
Done
Okay,
ran out the studio.
that's okay. You have the floor, my lady.
You know what? I have to give it back to you. Man, this is the second time that I've had an opportunity to be on your show as a guest, and I smile because you give so much love, light, and inspiration and good information to your followers, to your tribe, to your supporters. And you know what? Thank you for even giving me a chance to speak on this subject matter.
Oh, we
Yes.
appreciate you. We really do. We appreciate you taking time out of your schedule and sharing your knowledge with us. I love empowering. I love it. I love it. And I appreciate you so much. You already know that.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I'm sitting here and we can do that little color purple clap. So we clapping back and forth for this Black History. Yes, but
Yes.
you, but just to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying, and hello to everybody that's listening, is that the importance of life insurance. I've been an insurance agent now for 27 years, and that's another thing that I'm passionate about, alongside of women empowerment and finding missing and women children, is to have some coverage on your life. Where there is no value, there is no value. And you would be surprised at how a simple life insurance policy add value to your life. And so often on the streets, I'm here in the Chicagoland area. We that's where we're at.
Right.
And so often I see brown, black girls and young men. They hit that pavement, they take that last breath, and they don't have any coverage. Now, the only reason why I'm singling out, I'm not saying that this does not happen in every race of people, but what I am saying is that during this Black History time, allow me, please, to humbly shed the light on people that I know look like me and you. And for some reason, the importance of insurance is always like three things. First of all, not understanding what type of insurance they have, or or understanding, because sometimes people have one type of insurance, and then when someone passed, they're like, oh man, I ain't paying into that insurance because you know we've been paying in that insurance. I've been paying $3.65 every month, and then when my somebody died, and we ain't even have no coverage. And my thing is to say, if you've been paying $3.65, you probably was paying for maybe just an accidental death coverage, and it didn't, and the way that the person passed, it wasn't an accidental death, and so that's why the insurance company didn't pay. So I know I'm saying a lot, but what I'm saying is that insurance is important, and knowing what type of insurance you have. I think I heard you read that one of the somebody there said that they sat down with their insurance agent and went over the different types of coverages. There are different types. There's a coverage that's called term life insurance. Term life insurance is only going to cover you for a specified period of time. And then after that period, one or two things happen. Either your term will end, or either you will have a rider on that policy that will allow you to convert it over into either renew or convert it into a whole life policy. There is also a policy that's called like a decreasing term policy. I heard you mention that as your grandmother was getting older, then her insurance was decreasing. That's because when she was younger, she got a decreasing term policy. And so over a period of time, you know, it's heavy in the front end. So if she had a past, during those times where she had younger children or a lot family, I mean a lot going on, then on it would have paid more. But as the time got older, the premiums, as she got older, I'm sorry, the premiums stay the same, but the coverage decreases. That's what you call a decreasing term. But then there are policies that are whole life policies, cover you for your whole life. Premiums never go up, and it build a cash value that you could actually turn around and borrow against in case you ever need to. Just to give an example, and I'm gonna pause for a minute because I'm not even looking at the chats, but just to give an example, I took an insurance policy out on my children. I had twins. So when they were 8 months old and I was still young, I took out a policy on all of us. And I was only paying $25 a month a piece for them. And I took it out, like I said, when they was 8 months. I fell on hard times when my children were going into their sophomore year of high school. And I was able to turn around and look at that policy. I only been putting $22 in a month, but that policy had in over $15,000 cash value for the both of them. So guess what? I had money, and I was able to go in and grab that money and use it as I saw fit and didn't even have to pay it back. So again, one of the things that I do is I do what I call free assessments, and I sit down with people and I give them some different types of coverage offers that would be best for them. And it's free to do it. It takes roughly about maybe 30 minutes to kind of give you a full assessment. If you're doing it for yourself and your family, it takes roughly about maybe every bit of 10 minutes if you're just doing it for yourself. So I'm going to take a pause and see if there's any questions, or see if I covered, or if you got any questions for me.
Does anybody have any questions for Vera? Lisa Parker says, "What about the full life insurance? You mean whole life?"
Yes. So whole life insurance, it covers you for your entire life, and it will build a cash value. So the more you pay into the policy, I tell people at least give it 10 years before you start looking for, a return. But and then it depends on the insurance company you go with, because not all insurance is created equally. But this is just for me, just to kind of give you a roundabout figure. You do have to read or talk to your insurance agent and ask the questions, but it will cover you for your entire life. It does build a cash value, and you don't have to worry about your premiums going up. You don't have to worry about your coverage decreasing. There's also, if you are in good health right now, you could also add a guarantee insurable option on your policy. It normally doesn't cost that much to add that rider on. And what that says is that you could still buy additional insurance even if your health take a turn. So sometimes, there are health questions. I'm just like, give you an example. Some of the health questions: are you currently disabled or retired because of any injury or illness? Within the past 5 years, have you had or been treated for diabetes, taken insulin, stroke, paralysis, heart disease disorders, cancer, kidney failure, emphysema, liver disorders, AIDS or AIDS related complex, any mental disorder, any disease or disorder of the brain or spinal nerve, alcoholism or excessive use of alcohol? I mean, there are, and every company got different health questions. But the thing about it is that you have to be able to answer those health questions, right? Well, if you got a guaranteed insurable option rider on your policy, then even if you are diagnosed with a cancer, or even if you're diagnosed with some type of terminal illness, you're still able to buy insurance because you got that option on there. So again, that's talking about the whole life side of insurance.
Okay.
Now, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Now, when we talk about term, because I normally sell people a combination of them both, because term insurance is like renting an apartment. It gives you the opportunity to have coverage, but you pay for it at a cheaper price. So a lot of times when you're married, you got children, you got a whole lot of expenses in your younger age, you just want something that will at least get you through if something happened to you while your kids are still babies. And so that's why people take term life insurance. But I also always recommend still getting some whole life insurance while you're young, because that's going to be that safety net, so that when you get older, You don't have to worry about it decreasing your coverage, and you don't have to worry about your premiums going up. So you get a little bit of them both. And then more importantly than anything, I always recommend that you get some type of accidental death and dismemberment, because you can get a lot of coverage for just a little bit of money, but you can only um, die from an accidental death and dismemberment. But it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. And I recommend that, especially for people to get out on their children when they're young, as well as getting them the whole life coverage when they're young, and getting them some term, because the younger they are, you lock those premiums in and you don't have to worry about them going up.
Okay, so Maydale says, explain about the waiting period and health.
Okay. So if you are accepted by a company, and a lot of times this is with final expense, or it may have to be if you got some type of pre-existing condition, they give you what's called a 2-year waiting period. In most cases, it's 2 years. Again, it depends on the insurance company. I'm just speaking right now when I say 2 years for the company that I'm currently working with. So we have a 2-year waiting period for some that may, if it's a final expense policy, or if it's a illness that the underwriting just may want to kind of, okay, let us just see if you can make it for this 2 years, and then after the 2 years, then the policy increases. Either one or two things can happen. It can increase to the full value at the time, or depending on, it may go up a notch each year until it gets to the full value, the payout value.
Sylvia says, my insurance guy told us we are only able to take out what we've paid in on the whole life. Insurance is so confusing to me.
Yep. So here's what I do, and that's why it's hard to talk abroad, because everything is different for everybody. But here's what I do, and now you're going to encourage me to even write a book, the ABCs of insurance, because it's really not confusing. It just depends on how it's explained, and everything ain't for everybody. So insurance is not a cookie cutter. So what I mean by that is that I can say, oh, I'm going to get $10,000 worth of coverage, and it's going to cost me $25 a month. And then somebody else say, well, I want to go get that same $10,000 worth of coverage. Well, guess what? It depends on your age. It depends on your health. It depends on your weight. Sometimes it even depends on what company you're with, because it's not a cookie cutter. So a lot of times people try to take in life insurance and they try to put it in a box, but it's personal, because it's your life insurance.
Yeah. So let's see. There was some more questions. Hold on. Um, it's very important, but why is it so hard getting life insurance when you are sick?
Because the whole idea for life insurance is to get it before you're sick. Because if you know you're dying, then of course, and I don't mean this in any disrespect, but can you imagine how many people wait until the doctor has diagnosed them with some type of terminal illness, and then they run to the insurance company and say, oh, I need some insurance. And the insurance company is not in business to say, wait till the last minute, pay 1 month or 2 months premium, and then when the person deceased, we're going to give you, $150,000. So, and this is just me, just hypothetically speaking. And so it has to be some type of standard. It has to be some type of boundaries so that we get it. So, and when I say we get it, meaning that the insurance company is in business to pay out. But if people wait to the last minute until somebody was sick or had one of those conditions that I mentioned, then it would not be beneficial for the insurance company.
Right. Glam to Gam says, explain convicted felons who've been in prison, please. I tried insuring my son when he first got out and was denied because of that, the life insurance.
Yep. So it depends on what insurance company you're going with. So again, some companies, they ask that question, but then there are companies, that's one of the reasons that I write for the company that I write for, because I'm in the city of Chicago. And a lot of times there are people who have had, you know, law situations. They may be a convicted felon. They may, whatever the case may be. And so, depending on what insurance company you go with, that underwriting will be a question and they will not be approved. Again, all insurance is not created equally. So one insurance company no may not be the next insurance company's no. And one insurance company's yes may not be the next insurance company's yes. So when you're searching for insurance, it's always a good idea to find you somebody that's seasoned in the industry. And the reason why I say seasoned, no disrespect to somebody that's a newer insurance agent, is the more skin you have in the game, the more hurdles you've had to cross in order to help your people get coverage some type of way. Now, even as it relates to final expense insurance or having some type of pre-existing condition, you may find someone that will cover you, but a lot of times the premium is so high that I sometimes recommend saying, you know what, if it's going to cost you this much a month, how about we find you a funeral home of your choice, and let's start paying for your plot, and let's start paying for at least your funeral services. Now, I know that there are people that say, oh, I'm just going to put some money in the bank. That don't work good for everybody, because that money that's in the bank, when it become a rainy day, you'll realize, you say, well, I'm still living today, so I'm not going to save no money for when I'm deceased and I need this money and it's raining today. So I've seen those funds not stay there for a rainy day. And then the other thing is a GoFundMe. GoFundMe is not the policy. It's not a way to leave an inheritance for your children's children. Now, there are people that really understand this insurance game. And when their children is coming out of the womb, first of all, they're already covered, because the mother has a rider on herself that say any children that come out of her womb is automatically covered when they enter this world. That's one thing. And then for two, there are people that put in money into insurance because they know that they don't have to worry about taxes. They know that they can borrow against it without worrying about taxes. And that's just a safe place for some people to put their money into insurance. That's a whole nother topic. I'm not going to go all the way there, but it's a practice for some people. I just like to just kind of get on the bullhorn and say to those people who may not understand it, to say, tap into it, lean into it a little bit, get you enough information so as it relates to you and your family, and make sure that if you don't have anything else, pay your insurance. Not only life insurance, you want to make sure that you got whatever you got, you pay the insurance on it before you pay like, for example, let me give you an example. If you got a mortgage, I highly recommend, if you got two in your hand, my mortgage bill is due or the insurance is due on the mortgage. You know what I'm going to tell you to do? I'm going to tell you pay the insurance first, because the mortgage company will kind of give you, a month, 2 months, 3 months, but 3 months normally before they even start foreclosure proceeding. But the first time you don't pay that insurance, that house is no longer covered. And if it's a fire or if it's anything that happens to the house, you got a whole house that may have burned down, and you can't even get any money or get it fixed because you paid the mortgage, whether you paid the insurance. Same thing with a car. If you got a car note, or if you have the insurance bill to pay, I'm going to always tell you to pay the insurance first, because there's nothing worse than having this nice car. You done paid the car note and come outside and somebody done sold your car. You ain't even got insurance.
That's
It's
true.
the same thing with your life. You can live a fabulous life, but the worst thing you can do is leave this earth, have a fabulous life, and not at least cover your life to be able to make sure that people don't have to worry about funeral expenses on your behalf, as well as make sure that you leave something for your children, your children's children. A good man always leave an inheritance.
That's true. Tiani says, Miss Vera, I need some tips on how to encourage my adult children to get a whole life insurance policy now while they are in their 20s. I'm still paying monthly for their life insurance policies I purchased for them while they were toddlers.
Yep. And it's funny you say that, Mom. Great job. Kudos to you. But I laugh at grown people because you know one of the things that they say, my mama got life insurance on me. Well, when you baby, your mother got the life insurance policy on you when you were a baby. And she got that insurance because she was smart and she understood the importance of having life insurance. Not saying that those that don't have it is not smart. So let me just be clear because we're all smart. It's just about knowledge and not having the knowledge or understanding. But but a lot of times they say, well, my mama got insurance on me. Well, your mama only have the insurance on you to cover you for, a specified amount. But when you are older with your own wife and your own children, or as you're growing up into that as a young adult, it's important for you to do the same thing that your mother did. Take care of your life and put the coverage on you now because you're an adult. Don't put that responsibility on your mom. Now, mom, always keep your coverage because you got it when they was young. They'll never pay that price again, ever. And then over a period of time, you probably done build some cash value. So you always keep yours. But the importance of teaching them to take care of theirs is to say, don't let my life, don't leave me the responsibility to take on everything. Now, what a lot of parents do is they'll ask their 20-year-olds or 25-year-olds to say, you know what, I'm getting the policy, but I need you to pay for it. So just give me, $30 a month. And that's what they do. They'll collect the monies from their young adult children and say, this $30 a month you giving me, I'm getting you some life insurance because it's still inexpensive at that time, depending on how much you're trying to get. Just to give you an example, I just wrote a policy for a mother, and she had a 19-year-old son. We got him a $30,000 whole life policy. He has a $20,000 term life policy, and he has $200,000 of accidental death and dismemberment. He has a guaranteed insurable option, meaning that he'll be covered and be regardless to his health concerns later down the road, he can still get additional insurance, as well as he has a terminal illness rider. So in the event that there's a terminal illness, they don't pay any insurance. The insurance company will take over their premiums and pay it each month, and they'll still be covered. And her amount came to $41 a month for him to get that coverage.
Okay. And Legend asked, which insurance would you recommend?
So one of the and so again, that's difficult to tell because everybody's situation is different. If you strapped on cash and you just want to make sure that you're covered, I always recommend what I call a super combo. Not all people write super combos, but that's one of the things that I am able to do. I give people a little bit of everything so that we match their money out. So we'll put some over here in term life because you can get a buck of insurance for a lot of insurance for a lower dollar amount. I do throw some over into the whole life bucket because that's that cushion to make sure that you at least got that whole life policy in place where the premiums never go up and the coverage never go down. And then I also put a little bit on the accidental death and dismemberment. Just to give you another story, I had a young lady whose son recently passed due to a car accident. And as I was talking to her, I said, listen, this is a few years back, and he just recently passed. I said, get the accidental death and dismemberment. She's like, why do I need that? I don't want it. For one, it was only about maybe $6 extra a month for that. For that 100,000, she got $100,000. I think it was about an extra $6-7 a month. So she reluctantly, put it on her coverage, but she got it. And her son recently passed from a car accident. And one of the things that she called and reminded me, she said, Vera, if it wasn't for you explaining to me and really pouring into me like you did and helping me kind of maneuver my money around, I wouldn't have never got that accidental death and dismemberment. And she says, thank you, because the insurance company ended up paying her out $120,000. It wasn't about the money, because of course everybody wants their loved one, but she was able to do some things that she wouldn't have not been able to do if she didn't have that extra cushion. So I always recommend what I call a super combo. And again, that may be what may be good for you, but then somebody else's story or situation, it might not be the best for them. It depends on how much money you want to invest in insurance. Depends on your health situation. It depends on, a lot.
Okay. Lisa Parker says, is it true that if you get a policy that says you don't need an examination and when you die, they find out you had health problems, they won't pay out?
I can't say that that's true because it could be true, it could be false. So a lot of times they say you don't need an examination, but they will ask you health questions. And you answer those health questions and you don't give the right information or you don't be truthful on that application, then an insurance company can refuse to pay because of your like to disclose information on the application. And then a lot of times with those policies that say that you don't need an exam, some of those policies have a waiting period, a 2-year clause. Some of those policies may be decreasing term policies. Some of those policies just simply may be accidental death and dismemberment policy. So I cannot say. The only thing that I would warn people about is to at least look more into it and get the fine lines so that you know exactly what you're purchasing. Because again, all insurance is not created equally. There's a lot of different types of insurance out here. And the one thing that you need to do is have an understanding of what you're getting. But it is one of the best things that you could do as a living, breathing human to add value to your life. Can you imagine that? Let me just say it, in the city of Chicago, that if a lot of these people, and whatever city, just think of a city, whatever city, had a lot of these young people had life insurance on themselves, and these companies had to pay out every time one of these young people or some of these people hit that ground, I guarantee you people wouldn't be hitting the ground the same. Because where there is value, then people put value. Where there is no value, there's no value.
Yeah, that's true. And I believe that the government and the politicians in the cities and stuff, they would work harder at keeping that from happening.
And again, let me be clear on this public app. I'm not pointing the finger at any
Right.
entity except for
Exactly.
back to the house and back to understanding. Because when you know better, what we do.
We do better.
Yeah.
Maydell says, when my husband and I retired, they still covered us without making payments. Also, when we were working, my husband had a policy and it had a rider, and I didn't know it was me. Mm.
She didn't know it was me. And you know what? I'm glad she mentioned that about jobs. This is another thing that I always beg people. Don't keep saying, "Oh, I got insurance on my job. I got it
That's
on
what
my
I said
job."
when I first got on here. Yep.
Because the insurance on your job, that's 9 times out of 10. That's why you working on the job. But what happens when you're no longer working on that job? One or three things happen. The one thing that could happen is that when you're no longer working, you no longer have the insurance. When the job is over, the insurance is over.
Hmm.
Another thing that can happen is, yeah, you can have the insurance, but you don't get it at the group rate that you got it while you was on the job. So now you're gonna pay an arm, a leg, and maybe even some spare change to keep the same insurance that you always had because you're no longer part of the group discount.
Right.
Or thirdly, people work and they work and they work and they work a job that they don't want to go to simply because they need the coverage. When all you had to do was, while you are able to, take that little money. Sometimes I tell people, close your eyes and throw an extra $2 out your window a day. And you would be surprised if you got up every morning and just threw $2 out your window, not necessarily out your real window, but you know what I'm saying. You wouldn't even miss that money
Right.
because you're putting it to a cause that will reward you later in life. Maybe even if it's not personally, but it will at least reward those people that have to be left behind. Because one thing that's a for sure guarantee is that you're gonna die. And everybody that's connected to you, we all ain't here to stay forever. I know that to be the truth. So
Right.
that's the best investment that you can make is on life insurance because it's a guaranteed return on your investment.
Yes, it is. I truly, truly appreciate you. If you if anybody has any questions or are interested in talking about life insurance policies, what's the best way to reach you, Vera?
Yeah. So here, let me do this here. Um, let me do this. Let me different platforms. Let me do this here. Let me give out an email address, and you can reach me via email, or you can Google me on any platform. Send me an inbox message on Facebook, or reach out to me via email. So let me give you an email address. Let me know.
I'm ready.
Okay, so it's V like victory, Giles, G as in girl, ILES, NORRIS at yahoo.com. So it's V Giles Norris at yahoo.com. And then my name is Vera Giles Norris on all platforms. And if you send me an inbox on Instagram, send it on YouTube. I'm sorry, not YouTube, but Facebook, Clubhouse, Twitter, any of those platforms, I do answer. Also, I'll put my website in the Dropbox when we leave here, just so that if somebody want to contact me and they don't remember what I just said, they can at least click on the link and contact me via my website.
If you want, I can put the website in. I
Oh, you
think.
can. Okay. www dot the cats out THEKATSOUT.com. Thecatsout.com.
Yeah.
And if they hit the contact me form, that will help.
Everybody is saying, Vera, thank you for sharing your knowledge. It is greatly appreciated. Um,
Yes.
they're
And,
saying powerful commentary. A former neighbor of mine, daughter was just murdered in Chicago at 19 years old. She was a financial consultant, yet she had a GoFundMe page to bury her daughter. I have insurance. Yes, Sabrina.
yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Another shameless plug. I just released a book today. Well, I'm sorry, yesterday. It actually went live on yesterday. So it's the Book of Ruth. It's a journal and a keepsake, and it's in honor of my mom. So if anybody just feel like they want to get this journal, I am really shooting toward Amazon bestseller, and I have about 5 or 6 more books that's going to come along after that. And guess what? I'm gonna talk to you after this because I know we got a book project that we need to do together as well.
Right. We talked about that. And we talked about the Book of Ruth. We had one of the participants on our panel not long ago, you guys. And Vera
Alexis.
Alexis was on telling a little of her story. There's going to be various individuals who are going to be contributing to the book. And so we're going to have a panel of the participants who are going to be contributors to the Book of Ruth come on our panel and discuss a little of what they're adding to it pretty soon. Vera and I are working on that. And so you're going to hear more about the Book of Ruth. I just put that in the chat as well. You can search for it on Amazon. Um, and I put Vera's name with it. Now, Maydell wanted you
Yeah,
to
so
touch.
yeah, this one is the Book of Ruth, and I'll send you the link. The Book of Ruth, um,
Oh, this
keepsake
this
journal.
is
It's
the
the
keepsake. Okay.
Yeah, this is the keepsake.
Oh, so it's not the actual book. Okay.
No, this is not the actual book.
Now, Maydell wanted you to. She says, "Oh, she says, could you please explain a writer right quick? A writer.
Yes. So a rider is attached to your policy, and it just add additional benefits. So, for example, a rider on a mother that's still childbearing could be a rider to cover any additional children that she have. So children coming out of her womb is covered under that rider. Or if she's married under that rider. And then when I say married and stepchildren, different companies handle this a little different. So don't quote me on this one. But then on some riders, and even will cover children, that when you're married, it'll even cover her spouse's children that's under a specified age. So each rider is a little different. But for the rider that covers unborn children, that's where a mother that's still childbearing age, she'll add that rider on so that all her living children and unborn children are covered on that rider. And all you do when the child is born is just call the insurance company and say, up, add this name to the policy, and it doesn't go up because you pay that one. So, for example, the company that I currently write with, it's only $6.95 to add on a rider. So all children are covered under that rider for that one $6.95, and it's for $10,000 of coverage. And the rider, and again, there's different speculations. It can cover them until age of 21, 25, 26. It just depends. But they at least know that they're born with that 10,000.
Um,
And then there's several types of riders. There may be a rider, a terminal illness rider. I talked about that. And that's in the event that you're diagnosed with some type of terminal illness, then that rider is placed on your policy to, help pay your premiums during that difficult time of battling with a terminal illness. So you don't have to pay your premiums. So again, to say it three times, a rider is something that's added onto your policy to enhance your life insurance policy.
okay, Tiani says, I'm going to purchase the book today. Thank you, Miss Vera.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Okay, we totally agree. We are so happy to have you on our panel again, um, and sharing and dropping those knowledge bombs with us. People are very interested in learning more about it, and I'm glad you took time out of your day. Anything else you want to add?
Me?
Somebody says, "Wow." Anything else you want to add, Vera?
Okay, you
Can you
hear
hear
me?
me, Vera?
Okay, yeah. You know what?
Yeah, I
I
hear.
thought I was okay. I thought I was walking to the car, but guess what? I can't do that because I'm getting off circuit. Okay, yes, I appreciate you and I thank you as well. And if you got any additional questions for me, please, I'm happy to ask. And I can't wait for us to be on your show again with all of the young ladies from the book. Well, at least for 10 of us from the Book of Ruth.
Yes, I can't wait either. We're working on that now. Well, thank you. I know you're busy. I don't want to keep holding you up, and I'll be chatting with you. We'll be in contact.
All right. Have a blessed one. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Uh
Thanks.
huh.
Bye bye.
Bye for now.
Okay. Tiani says, I wish my insurance agent was this knowledgeable. I've been with her for 25 years and she hasn't given me half of what Miss Vera has taught us today. Wow, Tiani, are you serious? Ginger says, thank you, Swag and Vera. Great information. Maydale, thank you both for the information. Um, I made a correction. The Book of Ruth is the keepsake journal. It's not the actual book. And like I said, Vera and I talked the other day about having, um, I guess, 8 of the young ladies who are contributing to the Book of Ruth. Is where they're telling their story, and they're going to come on our panel and talk a little. They're not going to give, of course, all of the details because we want you to get as much of the information in the book as possible. But the young lady that we had on, Alexis, she was telling her story about the incident that took place in Atlanta, and she told a little bit about it. But yeah, so we'll have those women on our panel very soon. Okay, I'm just looking at the comments before I let you all go. Thecatsout.com. Again, Vera is the person who oversees the Cats Out and Missing Please Come Home here in Chicago. She is a very active in locating missing persons And like I said, boots on the ground. When I say that, I say she drives from the suburbs to the city of Chicago and walks the pavement looking for missing individuals. They do protest and a lot of stuff. She's very active, and she is very much into pouring into and helping others. I've seen them I've seen them going into empty abandoned buildings looking for people, and she has been successful in reuniting people with their family members. So I'm happy to have had her today. So I'm going to let you guys go. I appreciate all of you for taking time out of your afternoons. um, so Sabrina, I really appreciate you for joining my Chi-Town sister. That is so sad and things like that. Unfortunately, living here in Chicago, we see a lot of things that take place on a daily basis, and so information like this is so important. And somebody made a comment and said, "I wish there were more people here to hear this," but unfortunately, people tend to run. Like if I was swearing, cussing people out, throwing people against the wall, throwing chairs at people and stuff like that, then we would have standing room only. But that's okay. The information will get to who it needs to get to. You guys share it with people that you know who are not even on social media. My concern is to make sure that somebody gets, even if it's one person, that it makes a difference for one person who can, if something were to happen, would be able to say, like she said, the young lady came to her about her son after the fact. She didn't expect him to go the way he did, but she was grateful that she listened and that she um, took a charge on what she needed to do when she did. And so that's my concern. As long as one of you gets the information that's beneficial to you and it works out in your favor. Um, I hope I was able to cover everyone's looking at the comments, but yeah, you guys were communicating with each other. And you says, I'm going to share your live with my family and friends. This is life-changing information. Thank you so much, Tiani. I truly appreciate you. You were actually one of my subscribers back when I was covering the Tim Norman case when I had like 6,000 views. I remember you. And that's the thing about my memory. I don't have the best memory, but I remember certain things, and I remember you. And in His service, God is, that you guys came to me during that time and you stuck around, and I truly appreciate it. I appreciate you. Oh, Tiani, you got a membership badge. Oh, I'm so touched. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I just saw that. Thank you. Welcome so much. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our family. I don't think that made sense. Welcome so much, but that's how much I meant it. Um, Tammy says, I was the beneficiary on both my parents' life insurance and I put them away beautiful. I didn't cut no corners. Tammy, yes. And that's how I remember my cousin doing that. She was like, she just wanted it to be perfect. It wasn't about her trying to, because some people say, well, don't spend a whole lot of money on me, just do this. But if it made the living feel good, that's what matters, right? So that is so true. So I thank you all. Hey, Real Spill Tea by Jules. How are you? Thank you for stopping by. I went and watched your replay. I left you a comment this morning. I think you were celebrating that it was Friday and you were drinking your coffee. I was afraid you were going to spill it because you were so excited. So yeah, thank you so much for stopping by. Somebody else jumped in here when Vera was talking. Okay, Ginger C. Hey, member, I think I saw you. Hey, Sylvia. Thank you for stopping by. Maydell, thank you so much for your input. D. Brown, I was reading your comments, your input. Real talk with real opinions. I appreciate you all. So I'm going to let you guys go. And BM, thank you so much for stopping by. I saw you come in. You said great commentary. Thank you so much. Make sure you guys hit Vera Giles Norris up on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whichever platforms you all follow. She has a YouTube as well. She's not over here as much. She's really big on Facebook. Um, but she is a wealth of knowledge and she is an awesome individual. I've been knowing her uh, for years. through following her and watching her, her and Mr. Johnson, the crime chaser, Martin Johnson. They're partners in crime, and so they're active in Chicago. So I try to keep in touch with them or keep following them as closely as possible. Real talk with real opinions. Okay, okay. So thank you all so much. If you could do me a favor, make sure you like this video, and on your way out, if you could please say it to yourself or put it in the chat. I must. I can. I will. I truly appreciate you all. Um, yes, Vera is a wealth of knowledge, swag, crew, diamond. Yes, Tiani, pretty little butterfly. I got your messages. I will be finding out that information for you. Glam to Gam had to leave. She left me a message. She wants Vera's information as well. So yes, I did get the side messages. Don't spill a drop. Oh yeah, you say you. Oh, I know that's right. You kept that coffee in that cup, but you were gone. You were like, "It's Friday. Hey, your favorite day of the week." Have a great day, you all. Until next time, I see you in the streets. Okay.